Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to playoff weekend here at the Virginia Community Overwatch Invitational. Hello everyone, I am your caster Hotohori, and today we've got a great lineup of playoff matches for you today. Joining me as my co-caster, as always, from the West Coast, which is the best coast, it is Pulse. How you doing, Pulse?
I'm doing okay, Hodo. And like you said, we have some good matches today, so I'll leave everything, all of the information to you as we sort of roll on. But the first match that we have is going to be Virginia Tech versus Shenandoah. So tell me a
Yes.
little bit about these teams, Hodo.
Yes, so our 12 o'clock matchup will be Virginia Tech. The Hokies of Virginia Tech will be playing the Shenandoah University Hornets. So let's take a look at the team pages here for both teams. Let's first take a look at Shenandoah University. Average SR of 2,400. You've got multiple DPS players. Shenandoah University running a, looks like an 8-man squad. 3 people on DPS. NJ Starkiller, Little Big Dog, and Skype N99. Your tanks. Vance, NG Cola, and Shadow Rex, and your supports Just Average and Barry Mochi. For the Virginia Tech Hokies, it is a 6-man squad. It is Photon and Twixion will be your DPS players. Primon and Aidenod will be your tanks. Jaylet and Avison, your supports. Running at 4,200, there is a significant SR gap between the two teams. Shenandoah is going to need a lot of heart and a lot of tactics to pull this one off, Paul. So it's going to be looking like an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, and we casted last week. The last match of the day that we casted was Virginia Tech versus another team around this SR. So I have a feeling it's going to look a little bit like that. So
arriving at
hold together with us while we sort of deal with this. But this first map looks pretty or this first match looks pretty heavily favored towards Virginia Tech. Later on, the two teams that are playing will be a little bit more even. So heads up for that. But for now, I think things are going to look sort of all Virginia Tech.
Yeah, we're going to go into our first map here, and it will be Lijiang Tower. So the way of the format will go, which we'll go into in the breaks, it will be a best of 5. You've seen the opening rounds; they were best of 3s. Theirs is done Swiss style. So, but in the playoffs, we will go best of 5, and it will be loser picks next map. And the beginning maps though are set, and we will be starting on Lijiang. And our first map here will be Gardens, Pulse, as both teams are getting ready. Gardens very, very open to possibly a pharmacy being run or even possibly dive. Looking like on the side of Virginia Tech here, they're probably going to go straight up pharmacy here as it looks like Shenandoah here looking like they're going to go with the Sombra and go with the dive.
Mm-hmm. And neither of these are terribly surprising given what we've seen from these teams. Virginia Tech has been one of those teams to run a lot more standard things on composition, so they are running out with that pharmacy, which is incredibly good on Gardens. Just being more or less uncontested in the skies is always a good thing to have.
Yeah. And it looks like here Barry Mochi is going to be trying to sort of boost Little Big Dog and NG Cola here on the side of Shenandoah to try to sort of push him through. Shenandoah going through the shielded side, making sure that they're not going to be susceptible to any of the rockets coming in from Photon, as Photon will be just sort of firing the rockets around down the little hallway. NG Cola, though, gets demacked, and losing the D.Va early is going to be big for them. Shenandoah knows that they need to depend on their tank lineup here to make sure that no damage will get through, but it'll be a second here, so still moderately poke damage to try and do. NG Cola's trying to get his mech back, as it looks like the dive will coming in from Primo. That boy Chuck takes out NG Cola's baby D.Va, and Photon already with the barrage will wipe out 3-4 members. It looks like Shenandoah is all going down, and they're going back to spawn here. A full team kill here from Virginia Tech.
Photon, what are you doing? They have families. Just eating so much damage from the fire rockets. Photon's able to build with barrage in the first 30 seconds. And there's really nothing that we don't see any way that Shenandoah has an idea of how to approach this. They're sort of very slow as they're rotating through this back line, and they're very slow to do anything to these ults. Twixion already closing down an ult from Little Big Dog and closing out NJ Starkiller, so things still are looking all Virginia Tech right now.
Yeah, very much so, as Twixion's having no mercy here on the back line. of Shenandoah. Shenandoah is having a hard time coming out of spawn here, and with the SR difference, we were going to see something like this, so we were hoping that maybe they had a plan sort of going in. NG Cola now being able to sort of come up and sort of push. They need to get all behind that shield. They don't want to get picked off as they're being shot through here, as NG Cola is trying to still come in through basically the side and trying to use the buildings at least as a little bit of a shield. Looks like Skype and Just Average just got taken out here, and Virginia Tech showing no mercy like the way they showed Radford in the game last week. Photon there with the barrage getting a res. Just Average coming back down. Dat Boy Chuck taking down NG Cola. We're already at 80% here, and Virginia Tech just rampant here on Gardens.
Right now, Virginia Tech is just completely out for blood right now. Every single thing that they've been doing has just been closing them off at this choke. They're not giving them a single inch.
Yeah, 95% here, and a blade already coming out here again. Good, actually, shield there by Just Average, but people got thrown off as ults were coming left and right here from Virginia Tech. First blood here going to Virginia Tech, though, 100-0 here on Gardens.
And that was a very one-sided match, even for being some... Like, last week we saw some maps being taken off. Like, there were good fights. I don't think we ever saw Shenandoah have a chance to really get a fight in there. Their tank rotations were kind of slow, and then that very first point after NG Cola got demeched, we're just standing in the open right next to the fire barrage. They were slow to like take cover against it, and just all these little minor misplays are just Photon, and Photon is really the one abusing them a lot. Twiction's also just sort of going into their backline and staying there forever, but when you have this far like this, it's just able to more or less uncontestably throw a rock. You're just going to have such an easy time all the time.
Yeah, and it looks like, again, the pharmacy still coming out here from Virginia Tech. Though NJ Starkill are able to get Twiction down, so an early kill here. Starlexia is able to get Twiction back up, so a little bit of a mistake here from Virginia Tech. Unfortunately, unable to capitalize is the Shenandoah University Hornets. So it looks like they're still sort of stuck in the side. They haven't sort of moved onto the point yet. They're trying to sort of take Virginia Tech head on, and that might not be a good idea. Just Average here, all by his lonesome. He's going to have to make a run to the point here, and he's sort of in no man's land, sort of not being able to decide where he's going to go. He ends up taking a rocket for his indecisiveness, and Virginia Tech here able to sort of hold and immediately take the point here on point A.
Just Average actually had some pretty good Lucio movement there, able to stay alive very long, but unfortunately the rest of the team was down, so there wasn't a whole lot of solo Lucio could do.
Yeah, as it looks like Shenandoah here going to be rotating up. NG Cola getting the negative benefits here of a dynamite as Photon, my man, takes down 3, and he's having just no mercy here. Everywhere they're going, Shenandoah is just getting picked off. Pulse, they need to be able to move somewhere. I don't know what they can do here.
Yeah, they look very confused on how to approach this pharmacy, and one of the best things you can do against a pharmacy is have a diva, but we haven't really seen them do anything in that sense. They're kind of running this triple support with the solo tank right now, and they don't have the adequate means to sort of deal with this diva with what they're running.
Yeah, NG Cola, though, was able to get taken down by, Dat Boy Chuck was taken down by NG Cola, but Skype99 here, their Reinhardt gets taken out, and no main tank here means big problems. Ooh, a dragon coming out. That's a little hopeful coming out here from Shenandoah. They're seeing maybe they can pick up another kill. NG Cola, though, does get taken out by Photon. We're already at 70%, and Shenandoah here having serious issues coming out of spawn as they're already starting to regroup and reset. They've pretty much only got one last fight here coming through at 75%. If they get stalled here again, most likely Virginia Tech is going to be able to sort of pin them into point. And oh boy, here comes Bob. He's going to be guarding the door. Skype99 here is trapped with nowhere to go. They do get Bob pushed off the edge here, so unable to sort of completely hold him up, but a Graviton held up in the air at 93% combined with the barrage. It looks like it's curtains here for Shenandoah here on Lijiang. 99% ticks down, and that is going to be that. Virginia Tech here take a dominating Lijiang Tower 2-0.
Yeah, that was a very Virginia Tech favored map. Everything, they never really had a good answer for Photon, but there were bright spots. NJ Starkiller doing some work on Ashe that last round, definitely getting some good picks onto the Ashe from Virginia Tech. And then we also saw some moments where they had good ideas, but the end sort of that end. What's the word I'm looking for, Hodo?
The execution?
The execution. Thank you.
Yeah,
Man. The execution of it was just a little bit lacking, but they were sort of showing us some bright spots there.
I mean that was the thing is like they were getting initial kills on some Virginia Tech players. The Virginia Tech was running the Mercy though, so it was very smart of them to make sure if something were to happen, then possibly nothing really bad would sort of befell them with regards to what would happen if like sort of Shenandoah decided to sort of push in on them and sort of go through. It looks like they're in the middle of now having to decide what map they're going to pick, and it will be looking like Numbani. So Numbani will be the pick here on map 2. So we are going to go directly into this game. So let us just let you take it in. Paul, tell me a little bit of Numbani here, about Numbani.
Well, we saw it earlier. Actually, we saw it earlier in this tournament too, where the team that was significantly lower in SR had a really good showing by running a Bastion and Risa here on defense. They lost it, I think, almost in overtime, and they sort of things steamrolled out of control at that point. But they had a very good showing on point A. So I think if we saw if Shenandoah saw that map and comes into it with some ideas, they might have a pretty good showing here again. And I kind of expect a Bastion or maybe some things that most people would be considered cheese. But it also looks like the defense is running. It looks like Virginia Tech's running out with that now as well. So it's gonna be. It has a chance to be a lot closer than some of the maps that we've seen.
Yeah, it does. And I think Virginia Tech here not going to be able to, wanting to make sure that they just get the full hold here and sort of lock it down. Strelexia here has decided to go onto the Bastion. We'll be in the typical Bastion position as they're running both Bastion and Orisa. Shenandoah here looking like they're probably going to run NJ Starkiller maybe on the Widow, maybe to get some range shots, maybe take down Strelexia. It's going to be interesting here. This whole comp here by Virginia Tech is very, very interesting. I've never seen sort of an Orisa Winston combination, so that's very unusual.
It has Photon takes an early pick on NJ, so they're going to be stalled out as Shenandoah tries to push up. But Winston has become a lot more popular as an off tank again recently, just because of how the buff changed his interaction with armor. Winston kind of shreds now, and as a Winston player, it kind of makes me happy, but also it's been a lot of double shield in my games, so it's kind of slow and kind of obnoxious to deal with sometimes still.
Oh no, Vons there got caught out and was actually sent onto the next level and gets taken out. He falls off the cliff. Shenandoah were trying to sort of wrap around, and now it's 4 members of Shenandoah here in the back, sort of trapped. Photon there takes out NJ Starkiller again, as Starkiller has just not been able to get into position. It looks like Shenandoah is going to have to make a decision on whether or not they want to reset or just continue this push, as 2 members of their team are sort of separated out. And now this is just sort of hard for them, as it's going to be they're able to get pincered here from the left and the right, as Vons is finally back here, but his shield is going to get melted fairly quickly, and down he goes to Primo. Primo taking Little Big Dog down too, and this has just not gone the way that Shenandoah has wanted them to go.
It's really not, and we see these 3 characters, the Mora, Lucio, Diva, just stuck in this back alley, and they have no real way of getting out, and Primo's just kind of harassing them a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if this was one of those cases where they should have just taken this the suicide and then made sure that they re-get with the team, because they've already burned 2 minutes on the clock here. Remember, it's a time game, folks. You want to make sure that you have enough time to sort of survive here onto the point so that you can actually capture the objective. And NJ Starkiller gets taken out again here, this time by Photon at range, as he's just not able to get into position. And their whole strategy here of having Starkiller be on the Widow is going to be abandoned, as he's going to the Sombra now.
I don't think Starkiller was able to really get even past the bus. Photon just had his number all the time, just early picks, making sure every fight was a 5v5. So this is actually the first, I think, 6v6 coming up that we've seen this entire map so far. And as I say that, Starkiller gets picked off again by the Winston. He's just not having his map right now.
No, this is so tilting for him, I bet. It's just anything that he's trying to do is just not going to be able to do. As it looks like here, Photon here has the ult, as long as he knows exactly where to look onto the position, they might be able to catch them. Oh, a bomb gets sent out, and actually will catch Aidenod. They were aiming for Strelexia there, and that was probably their shot. Just Average takes out Primo, and they're at 4v4 here. Photon able to take out NJ Starkiller in the back, but there's still two members here of Shenandoah here into the back, as they were able to sort of get some members of Virginia Tech, but unable to clear them completely out. But with 1 minute left to go, this is one of those rare maps where the defense actually has spawn advantage here on point A, so they're not going to be able to sort of work their advantage here.
And it's already forced another regroup for Shenandoah, and they're setting up for this final 6v6. Things are sort of entering into last fight territory, but they're pulling a lot of ults.
So they're going to use their support ults here, but Strelexia gets a big rocket onto Just Average. They're in a little tiny hallway here, and that's just Strelexia getting buffed here with the bongo, and there's just nothing they can sort of do about it. NJ Cola here on the Baby Diva, just trying to survive as best as she can, and unfortunately going to get taken out. 18 seconds left to go. I think they'll make it back, but it'll be very, very close.
Yeah, this last fight will be a stagger fest, but there will be a last fight, it looks like.
Little Big Dog here getting taken out before being able to put down the teleporter. The Hammond here, NJ Cola, gets slept before he makes it to the point. There is overtime here, so Primo takes out Just Average as he is ulting on the point, just making sure nobody from Shenandoah makes it back. That's going to be that. Virginia Tech full holds Shenandoah University, which means they only need a tick.
Score 0.
And only needing a tick is definitely scary territory, because if Shenandoah runs one of those like Bastion weird sort of, not even weird because I've seen it a lot on Numbani, but Bastion comps, one of those bunker comps, you can just sort of step on point and potentially win by accident if the off-tank player that needs to touch the point to stall it out isn't paying attention. So things are a little bit scary for Shenandoah right now.
Yeah, but Shenandoah here has the advantage of being on defense, so they will be able to bunker up a little bit. So Virginia Tech was the team that we saw have a little bit of struggle, try to break through that sort of Bastion Orisa comp. So if Shenandoah were watching earlier this week, maybe they will try to sort of set up for it. And here it comes. Little Big Dog here will be on the Bastion, and Vance here will go to the Orisa. So they will try it here. So Virginia Tech will probably know what's coming at them. So they will see this sort of Bastion Orisa comp. They bring out their own Widow too. So Primo here going onto the Widow, and Aidenod here going back here to the Pharah. So it looks like here they're going to try to sort of spam them down and maybe take them out of range.
Hold on, I think Virginia Tech's messing with us a little bit, because right now they have their main tank on Widow. But we'll see how this plays.
We'll see it, yeah. So yeah, maybe some switches here coming up here at the very end. They always do like to mess with the casters, but
no, they're actually running out with it. Okay, I think they aren't fully respecting Shenandoah at this point.
Oh no!
But to be completely honest, they're running this weird triple support, Moira, Zen, Lucio, so the Zen actually has to be a DPS in this situation if they want to hold this properly. They have a lot of sustain between the three supports, but they only really have a junk Bastion and not a whole lot of tankiness. So if that boy Chunk uses defense matrix properly, then they can just melt them all as Winston goes for the cleave.
Yeah, and here they come. They're just sort of pushing in on Little Big Dog. Little Big Dog gets taken out here, as that is going to be that. They weren't able to come back onto the point as they were all trapped on the high ground. Genius there by Virginia Tech to sort of force the action to the top, force everybody into the back, and end it right there. And Virginia Tech gets a quick win here on Numbani.
Yeah, and it looks like the players thought this was the best of 3 again, so you're gonna have to play one more map. It's not that easy, Virginia Tech. You gotta earn it.
So yep, that's right. It's playoff times, folks. So playoff means that they are going to have to play a best of 5. So Numbani there was the second map. We're going to have to pick on a 2CP map, and this could be painful here for Shenandoah, though they will have choice. So what do you think would be the best that they could choose here from this choices of 2CP? Paris is now available, so I'd like to throw
Paris
that out
is
to
now
everyone.
available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned it, but I would like to say that this is played on the current patch with Baptiste being locked, so all of the changes are in. When we were talking about Winston shredding earlier, that is live patch. go if you like to play Winston. If you were a former Winston one trick and quit when Goats came out, now is your time to shine. He's good again.
He's good again.
he was never bad. Who am I kidding? Like Winston Goats, people always try to play Winston just because he is the only tank with that type of mobility. So all of those changes are in. That's the patch that brings Baptiste live with us, and it's stuff like armor damage mitigation over beam weapons and damage over time is affected. So Ash Dynamite is crazy good against tank comps now. It was pretty good before, but it's even better. Winston Shreds, it's very scary to play against too. There's changes for pretty much every hero in the game, and
Yeah.
I don't want to list them all, but if you're interested to check out the patch notes. And it looks like they're going to Horizon is what they're saying. So I don't know if this is the best map for them to pick, but it does fix a couple problems I think that they're scared of. And that being Horizon isn't much of a Pharah map. So they might be picking it because it's either they practice it because they want to run Torb or something, but it does fix one of the problems that they've had, and that's dealing with a Pharah.
Yeah,
Because
and
you just normally don't see Pharah on this. Like, you can play Pharah on this map, but it's not one of those things that you see often.
yeah, it's not something that you would see often, and it's very unusual. But I think there was some talk here about maybe Virginia Tech trying to go first, but I don't think that is going to be the case here. So
Initiating match.
we will be going to Horizon Lunar Colony, and there is some weird stuff about this map with regards to the fact that out of the 2 CP maps, it is one of the more unusual ones with regards to how this is sort of set up. There is sort of multiple roundabout ways with regards to how you approach. It's not just like a direct charge like it is on Hanamura. It's not really roundabout the way that sort of Anubis is. So not necessarily my favorite 2CP map. Pulse, what do you think?
I'm weird. I like Horizon.
You like Horizon? Okay.
I liked Horizon before they changed it even, so I'm exceptionally weird. But I don't know. It was originally a really good map for Slambulance. Still a pretty decent map for Goats. But it also some new things have come up. Like some teams have been trying to run Winston Goats in higher level leagues. So Winston Goats is pretty decent here. There's a lot of verticality on first point. Second point, not so much, but it's sometimes good to have. Orisa bunkers are pretty common because it's very scary to have a Widow with an infinite shield in front of her face and a Bastion and a Junkrat or any combination of those. But it looks like Virginia Tech is opting for this sort of high ground forward hold, and they're not running a main tank. So I don't know exactly what to say for Shenandoah, but things are kind of scary for them right now.
Yeah, so it looks like NJ Starkiller going to the Widow here, trying to see if he can pick off anybody and make sure they can get themselves like a 6v5 advantage. Virginia Tech here doing a pretty decent job sort of holding and making sure Primo, though, is able to take down Barry Mochi. And that might be the go signal here for Virginia Tech, as it looks like NJ Starkiller not going to be able to get the shots that he's going to need. As they are approaching point here, Primo does take out NG Cola, and Strelexia taking out Big Dog. So this defense here for Virginia Tech will hold, but Photon gets taken out there at the very end. Starkiller does get a kill here, but a res will come through from Twiction, so 6v6 still will be the order of the day on the next push.
And Aidnot just goes for it, not respecting Starkiller at all, and just starts conk mining his way to victory. So they're going to have to wait for NJ before they get all the way back into position to recontest. And Aidnot has that tire, and there's a lot of things that are very scary for them still.
Oh, but Starkiller does take down Primo, and they're going to have a window here because they used their res up earlier. So no Widow here on the side of Virginia Tech. That was a good shot, but Aidnod just puts an end to the push right there. A huge, huge tire there. Will take out 3 members there of Shenandoah, and that will be that. Strelexia finishes off Starkiller and Barry Mochi, and back to the drawing board they go. It's just a matter of inches here. That you need to sort of, you have to sort of maximize those advantages when you can, but that tire was huge.
And I think one of the biggest things that's hurting Shenandoah right now is they don't have a Diva player. I wouldn't say Diva would fix all of their problems, but it would fix quite a few of them because they're just having trouble dealing with all of the damage coming in. They've been having trouble with it a lot of the night, and they just need something to be able to right-click a lot of this while they speed boost through, because right now they're having a hard time getting their footing in.
Yeah, as it looks like, you know, Starkiller is getting the kills here that he wants, but unfortunately, just the way the timing is working, he's just not being able to sort of finish it out. Primo there with a great shot on it, just average. Shenandoah here back onto the point here, but Primo, no pressure on him. He's going to be able to free shoot right into the point. Vons though takes out Photon, so that's going to be, now it looks like Primo's going to have to be super careful. Starkiller can hit those shots, and he does. He takes a great shot here onto Primo, is able to take him out, but the rest of his team is down. Minute 19 here left to go, but 2 players down here for Virginia Tech. As you know what, this is the opportunity. Shenandoah here can sort of move in and hopefully they can be able to do something. Lil Big Dog tried to survive an attack here from Strelexia, even to the point of using his ult, using as much as what he could, but unable to get out. Now Shenandoah here is staggered with a minute to go.
Yeah, and things are kind of scary. NJ switching over to the Reaper now, so they don't really have an answer to Primo at all. No one on their team can really contest it properly, but they have a lot more ground power, so Reaper's just going to be sort of outdistanced here all day, but Vons gets a really good fire strike on the tire to make sure they don't get team wiped.
Yeah, they do, but unfortunately still 2 down here as both Primo and Aiden here take kills of their own as they're pushing right on. EMP will actually come in and now finish off the rest of the members of Shenandoah with only 20 seconds left to go. Just average takes the kill. They did get about like almost 2 ticks here, Pulse. Look at the ticks here. So there's not going to be a draw here. So Shenandoah here able to get at least 62% off of the point while they were sort of rotating around. 4 seconds left to go. Nobody's going to make it back in time here. It's just going to be a shooting gallery at this point. So Virginia Tech here does have a target. Actually, pretty decent job here from Shenandoah to be able to get that much here on a team that's about 2,000 SR higher than they are.
Yeah, and as I sort of said it earlier, but Virginia Tech was running what I'd like to call quick play strats or something that's a little bit more experimental, because they weren't running the tank. They were just making sure that Shenandoah lost at least 2 people before they touch point any time, and after that they just sort of needed to stand high ground and keep getting their shots off, because Shenandoah was always at a 2-man disadvantage if they ever got to point. But they sort of did have to give up a few ticks because of that, almost 2.
Yeah, they absolutely did. So a little bit of a disadvantage for Virginia Tech, but if they can get 62.1%, they will win this match overall. So we will see now Shenandoah go here on defense, and if I'm them, maybe I sort of bunker in. I see Little Big Dog here coming in on the Mei. It's the first time we've seen a Mei here in this match, so maybe they'll try to use the ice walls into their advantage. Pulse, you are the Mei player. How will Little Big Dog need to set up those walls to sort of trap the members here of Virginia Tech?
I really like Mei. In general, I play Mei a lot. You know this, Odo. I really hate Mei on Horizon, though. First points... I don't know, first point's a little weak, second point's a little bit better because the chokes are a little bit more Maywall size, but it's just, there's so much open window space on Horizon first point that no matter where you wall off, if they're running something like a Winston, Diva, or Pharah, they can always just go over the wall, so it's way less effective than Mei's second point.
And we're seeing, looks like we're going to be seeing a Hammond here coming in from Primo, who's trying to sort of wrap all the way around. He's actually going all the way to their opposite spawn, maybe just sort of hiding. He does move way faster than the rest of this team, so he's allowed the rest of his team to go out into space here, and they're going to be trying in. Primo actually comes back from behind. That boy Chuck able to take down Just Average, who will get rezzed. But it's going to cost Berry Mochi's life, so she actually just tried to sort of come in there and try to rescue him, but Just Average there evening up the fight as that boy Chuck getting taken out here in space. They're trapped on the high ground here, and they don't really have a shield. So playing tankless again, pretty much, as Primo here will try to use the DPS here coming in from the Hammond. He gets frozen and killed onto the point. Shenandoah here able to sort of hold off and be able to sort of make sure that they keep the defense. They're bunkering here onto the point as now Rocket's trying to sort of fly in onto the point. They've already burned up about a minute 10, So good job by them. Twiction actually takes down NG Cola. Oh, going down to a sort of bloodthirsty Anna here. Not very good. Barry Mochi here is purple. Got hit with a grenade. Primo, though, gets taken down again as a dragon now coming in. What from what angle? Transcendence actually Pop thinking that the dragon was actually going to come in through the side of the point. It looks like it's actually a friendly dragon that will hit the point. So maybe a little bit of miscommunication there.
Just having to bring it to sustain his team from Photon back. Just raining free rockets sort of going over the shield. It wasn't like a fat finger, it was just they needed more sustain than they had available, and Trans was the only option they had.
Yep, so it looks like they will be able to sort of sustain. We're down 2 minutes now, as no ticks here on the clock, as Vons takes down Twiction. Virginia Tech here sort of messing around, and it's already cost them 2 points, 2 minutes here onto the point. Primo, using that active shield, will run away again. Luckily, this time he does not get killed. He comes back in again. He's got to be careful about being frozen here by Little Dig Dog. But now it looks like Virginia Tech already down to 1:45 here left on the clock. Shenandoah here just has to make sure that they play tight. NG Cola takes down that boy Chuck, and we're down to about 1:30, doing a pretty decent job. Aidenon gets taken out here by Little Big Dog, and the hold is still on here. Remember, they still need 62% to make sure that they have Horizon.
Yeah, things are definitely looking good. Little Big Dog not finding a lot of value from the May walls, but definitely finding a lot of value from the freeze, just because it's stopping Primo in tracks. But this next fight is really the big one, because pretty much every ult is going to be aligned except for Transcendence. So Shenandoah University is going to have to get on the aggressive to make sure that they stop any plan that Virginia Tech is trying to set up. Because if Virginia Tech gets what they want, if they get that EMP barrage off, then it's game over for Shenandoah.
Yeah, and I think they're playing up for it, so they've got to make sure they execute correctly here. Graviton will come in. Here comes the EMP. There's the barrage. It only gets NJ Starkiller, but NG Cola takes his life. His life goes down in the same process. May ult actually gets sent into the air, but it looks like Barry Mochi is able to get NJ Starkiller down. This is the final fight. Vons takes out Aidenon, so not necessarily the actual results that Virginia Tech wanted, but it might be good enough. They're starting to get ticks here onto the point. Bongo's down, not going to be able to be used by any of the members. The rest of the members here of Shenandoah get taken out, and that is that. You called it, Pulse. EMP gets everyone, and Virginia Tech ends up winning this map and this match 3-0.
Things looking a little dicey for Virginia Tech because I don't think they're showing full respect on Horizon. But again, that was probably the best we've seen Shenandoah all day. They had a very clear strat. They were playing for certain win conditions. They were just a little too slow to sort of stop them in their final push onto the point. And if they had like 1 or 2 more fights where they just got a little bit more percentage, they might have had a little bit better shot just because they held for so long. They wiped off a lot of time. Virginia Tech was playing to make sure until they had those 6 ults, but it did take them 3 minutes to have 6 ults, and his GMs should be able to do it a little bit faster than that. Come on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So they were playing for the 6 ults. They do get it, but the execution a little sloppy there on the side of Virginia Tech. So they got to work on that. As Shenandoah almost able to pull it out there on Horizon. They did a fairly decent job. And even getting 62% was actually better than I thought that they were going to do there on Horizon. But that is going to be that for that match. Virginia Tech advances till next week, and they will earn a spot in the LAN event. Minimum of 3rd place actually will be available for them. Minimum, excuse me, of 4th place and the land event will be available to them. So congratulations to Virginia Tech. Shenandoah ends its run here, but they've been a very, very good team, and they were actually fairly decent here. Unfortunately, they ran into the bit of a buzzsaw here at Virginia Tech. Just a couple shout outs here to Shenandoah University. They have started an official university-sponsored esports program for those who are watching at home. They do offer marketing classes, gaming classes, all sorts of things to immerse yourself into the world of esports. And that is available on the curriculum of Shenandoah University. Check out their website, shenandoahuniversity.edu. I think it might be su.edu, but check them out. It is a great, great program that they have just started up based in Winchester, Virginia. So if you are in the Northern Virginia area and you are very much interested in esports, that's an option for you if you do want to go to a university with an esports program, Pulse.
And I think they were one of the first schools to do it too, but this was really, I think, the first time they had a chance to sort of show off their team because they are still building their physical playing esports thing. And
Yeah.
it's not a bad showing, especially for not having the established framework there, for not having the players that are able to sort of compete at that GM level. They really sort of held their own.
They absolutely did here. So, and congrats to them. I mean, they had a really really sort of hard mission in front of them, paying a team like Virginia Tech, which is very very high on the SR scale and participates in TESPA. So it's just want to be one of those things that you're playing, a top sort of 100 university team, and to be able to show something like that, it's very very good. So kudos to the Shenandoah University Hornets, and also kudos to Virginia Tech. They get to advance themselves to the next round of playoffs. We'll see them in next week's playoff matches, as well as the LAN event on April 5th at George Mason University. We're going to take a little bit of a break here, as the next set of games will be coming in. It will be Old Dominion and Radford. Those are your next matches. We'll sort of try to clear those up here. We're going to sort of end this cast here. That's scheduled for 1:30. 1:30 p.m. is the scheduled start time here between Old Dominion and Radford University. So when we come back and when the stream goes again live, we will see the two universities, one from the Tidewater area and the other one from Southwest Virginia. It is Radford and Old Dominion when we come back at 1:30. So come back and watch that great game between those two universities.